Welcome everyone to the etbrandequity.com panel discussion on moment marketing. We have with us today Dr. Sandeep Goyal, who is the Managing Director of Rediffusion and also Chief Mentor at the Indian Institute of Human Brands. Joining him is Mr. Harish Bijoor, founder of Harish Bijoor Consults. And we have with us Ashish Tiwari, the CMO at future Generali India. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My first question, and anyone can take it up, is do you think that moment marketing is being abused rather than used in today's scenario?
I don't know how you define abuse and use. Okay. Moment marketing, by the definition of it, is basically exploding onto a moment and taking it up and connecting with the consumer. Now, it can be very good as a society, as brands, as a society. There is a lot which can be done on moment marketing because of as a country, there are just so many movements happening all around and you celebrate them. But yes, if you are infringing somebody's copyright, if you are infringing somebody's personal space, then it certainly becomes a little bit of a challenging and concern at that point in time. Otherwise, I mean, I remember for once, I remember one of the time when I was with my previous assignment at Hero, I suddenly realized that there were floods in Kerala, and there was this girl who kind of donated all her savings out, which she has kept to buy a bicycle. We just did not took any time. We went ahead and said that you get a bicycle forever whenever you need a replacement, and here is a new bicycle, and we ensured that we follow it up in next 5 minutes. We did not went to media to be able to reach out, to be able to announce it to media so that she can connect. Rather than we went to the editor of the newspaper which has published that news, and we connect using that media. We connected. The girl got the bicycle, and later on it got picked up. If you are using the social, if you are using the movement to build up connections, then that's a marketing. Otherwise, it's just a fad which you are kind of trying to ride. That's what I think as a brand.
Well, I'm sure both Dr. Goyal and Mr. Bijoor may have a slightly different point of view. Dr. Goyal, would you want to give your 2 bits?
I think your question, Urvi, was moment marketing. The problem is not with moment marketing. Your problem is that it is a celebrity moment marketing. So you see, it is when the celebrity gets attached to the moment, that is when the problem starts. I don't think there's any major problem if tomorrow you put out an ad on Independence Day and say this is, 75 years of India and so on and so forth. I don't think too many people would have a problem with whatever you do with that moment marketing. Problem starts when there is a celebrity involved and you are trying to write the success of the celebrity by trying to attribute or steal a little bit of that value attached to that celebrity and bring it to your brand without compensating the celebrity. So that is the core of the issue. The problem is not with the moment marketing. It is the combination of moment, celebrity, marketing and brand which is actually ignites the problem. And I'm sure, Harish will agree with that.
Yes, Mr. Bijoor.
Well, let me put it this way. I mean, when I look at moment marketing is about using a moment which emerges. Now, if you're using that moment sensitively, there is no issue. I believe that, moments can be about animated individuals or it can be about inanimates. If it's about inanimates, nobody is going to object, as Sandeep rightly put it. When it comes to being about animated individuals, about human beings, about human brands, then people will object. There is something called moment marketing. But there is something called using a moment. And then there's something called misusing a moment. And then there's a third dimension, which is called hijacking a moment. Now, brands are essentially opportunistic beings. I mean, that we must all accept because brands are always looking for opportunity. And anybody who looks for opportunities all the while is opportunistic even. But we must appreciate that when it comes to moment marketing with human beings, as Sandeep was putting it so very rightly, it's all about saying that a human being is the brand out here. PV Sindhu is the brand out here. Now listen, first of all, PV Sindhu belongs to herself, belongs to PV Sindhu. Secondly, PV Sindhu belongs to a sport called badminton. Thirdly, PV Sindhu belongs to a country called India. And fourthly, belongs to the world, the cosmos. please understand, she first of all belongs to herself. So her inalienable right on her brand is hers. So many people can congratulate. The government of India can put out a full page ad saying, "Congratulations, PV Sindhu." That's fine. But then, a political party can put out an ad, "Congratulations, PV Sindhu." Now that's a bit of a misuse. A political persona, an individual, can put out a big banner saying, "Congratulations, PV Sindhu," because he wants to get burnished by Sindhu's glory. That is incorrect. And finally, a brand can say, "Congratulations, PV Sindhu." Now, out here, if the brand has not paid PV Sindhu, I think it's a misuse of brand PV Sindhu. And to that extent, moment marketing must be sensitive to human beings.
On the point about brands riding on the success of an individual, we have a brand called Amul, which is its marketing strategy has been moment marketing since even before the Facebooks and Twitters of the world existed. It was in the form of print ads, it was in the form of hoardings. They're all iconic. Is Amul the outlier then in this case, or are there lessons to be taken from Amul? How do you put Amul in this context then?
My quick view would be that Amul is using a moment. Okay, Amul is not misusing a moment. Amul is not hijacking a moment.
Goyal sir?
No, my point on Amul is a little different. First and foremost, most of the takes of Amul on any of these celebrity moments or moment marketing are light-hearted most times, unless of course there's a tragedy. Very rarely do they use the name. I mean, they won't put out an ad says, "Congratulations, PV Sindhu." So they will take Sindh and they will play around with her name, or play around with badminton, or play around with a shuttlecock or shutter something or the other, and whatever. So most of the messaging is playful, right? Two, it has become more now an acknowledgement of the fact. It's like the Kapil Sharma show. If you are in the Amul ad, then you are really famous. I mean, you really made a grade for yourself if you have been picked by Amul to be featured. So it is most times being taken as a compliment by the individual or by the persona involved, that they have, Amul has picked me and put me in their ad. So they don't end up really objecting. Now, what happens with regular brands is that most of the brands are trying to somehow spawn from the fame or the fame of the moment with the celebrity, and trying to say, can I gain something from whatever PV Sindhu, for example, has achieved. I mean, later in this conversation, we'll talk about it, because Harish made a very important point, and he said PV Sindhu first belongs to PV Sindhu. We'll come back to that, because, I believe sometimes that PV Sindhu actually doesn't belong to PV Sindhu itself. So that's just a different point of view itself, but we'll discuss that. But back to Amul, I think being featured in Amul today is more treated as a, piece of honor or privilege, or, you earned your stripes if you've been featured there. So people don't really object to the fact, because they think this is now a kind of a national honor that Amul has selected me and they put me in their hoarding. Yeah.
Okay. And Ashish, do you have a view on where Amul fits in? Do you agree with Mr. Bijoor or Sandeep sir?
Yeah, I think I agree with Sandeep. See, if you look at the way Amul is doing it from 1978 something. Since then, they have started this and they have continued. It's like day by day. So they have become like a gold standard of movement marketing. And when you get into that, so nobody, in fact, if you recall, there was a movie, Tiger Jinda Hai. Yeah. And I remember Amul tweeting about it. Okay. And then the director retweeting about the movement, and the same director going and suing somebody else. Okay. But the only part which I disagree, even if, one is about picking up a movement, which Harish very, very clearly defined. It's about a movement and the celebrity in that movement. If you are trying to ride onto the celebrity has all the rights to be rightfully compensated. At the end of the day, you cannot use me for a gainful purpose, for a gainful commercial purpose of yours. And that's where I think whether it is Amul or it is anybody else, everybody should be looked at one single lens, and that's where it is.
Fair enough. So this brings me to the next question, which is, uh, being a product of the social media age in its form today, leaving aside Amul's strategy, um, do we need to relook at the rules when it comes to moment marketing across the stakeholders, not only between the brand and the talent, but even the brand managers, even the talent managers? Ashish, we'll start with you and then go down the line.
I think we certainly should be able to very clearly define. There are three different things. I mean, just take the latest example of PV Sindhu because that's the hot topic of the day. If you look at, nobody will go ahead and do this to a Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli of the world. Okay, why would it happen with PV Sindhu? Because of two reasons. One, the association, BCCI itself has very, very clearly laid out the rules of engagement.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel that it is yet a distance which Indian Olympic Association or the Olympic Association as such were to cover. There were some gray areas, notwithstanding with the point that if there are gray areas, brand should be able to exploit that. I think as a brand manager, one should be sensitive enough to the fact that the persona belongs to the individual, persona belongs to a certain group, and without the rights of that group, that persona should not be used. Okay. Having said that, I think there are brands which have been playing to Amul's strategy of being playful, being jovious about taking the movement into a light-hearted way to celebrate. And I think both should be looked into their own different colors and shades.
Yeah.
Dr.
Goyal?
Urvi, I have a point of view which simply says that, hey, listen, look at it from the persona's point of view. Okay. At the end of the day, we're all talking about an individual, a human being. And at the end of the day, a human being has invested time, energy, money in building that persona, and not building that persona by attending page 3 parties, but by building that persona by the dint of the sport and the talent that he or she brings to the party. Now take a look at someone like Chanu. Now, if Chanu has actually, achieved something, and you know her personal background, where she is, and if Chanu has expressed that she likes pizzas, a pizza company actually goes and delivers pizza to her place, and then of course maybe promises pizza for life. Now that is using a moment marketing tool, but to an extent it is actually hijacking the moment marketing opportunity, and that's exactly what was done by the pizza company without taking the name of the pizza company. Now, if you really look at it, this entire thing is, let's think of it from their perspective. Chanu is a persona. Now Chanu's first set of earnings might come from appearing at a particular show. Okay, there's an appearance fee. One event, and this is short-termism. Okay, there are no long-term deals.
Yes.
Ribbon cutting. One event, some money coming out of there. And guess what? It's about one digital engagement. Maybe, if she is digital, can you send out 2 tweets, you'll get this kind of money. This is short-termism. And please understand that players who are emerging from the realm of Olympic sports, for instance, today, they're not necessarily very well off. And everything that comes to them must come to them properly. So then brands need to have an integrity in this. And that is the stuff I'm questioning. The brand is an integrity statement. Brands must show integrity in the way you use a personality or misuse a personality or hijack a personality's name. Those three statements that I've made saying that it's very, very important. Well, if a brand comes in and says, I'm in it for long-termism, I'm coming to Chanu and saying, 3 years, Chanu, you're going to be my brand persona. That's good. That's long-termism. That's commitment. That's integrity. And after that, use the persona. But I think, ASCII is getting into this in a reasonably big way. And, particularly, brand endorsements on digital, etc. ASCII is re-leveraging onto digital. I'm sure ASCII will look at it as well.
Dr. Goyal, your 2 bits.
Okay, I am going to look at it from 2-3 different perspectives. The first perspective is to go back to what Harish said a little while ago. Now, Baseline Ventures, who are the agents for PV Sindhu, the first question they need to ask themselves and reply to their own client, which is PV Sindhu, is to tell me whether the word or the name or the phrase PV Sindhu is registered or not. And I have checked, and I'm telling you it is not. So, you can go and make all this noise and say, I'm going to send out legal notices and this and that. But the fact of the matter is, most of these so-called agents and, market intermediaries don't even do their basic homework. So you take examples from the world over. Olympic long distance runner, for example, Mo Farah, has registered the Mobot symbol, the famous Mobot symbol, which now Mo Farah owns. So, you've got a registered trademark on a symbol called the Mobot, and if everybody or anybody tries to infringe on it, now that is legally something that you can pursue. Now, similarly, Usain Bolt, you've seen when he finishes his run and when he wins, he has this lightning bolt symbol he does with his, arms. Now, that lightning bolt symbol is registered. So it is a trademark and a property of a guy called Usain Bolt. Now, you try and infringe on that, then you are in very serious trouble, right? Now, the point is that Baseline, by the way, Baseline is not doing this gimmick of, sending out legal notices for the first time. They did it the last time around with Prithvi Shaw. So when, we say that BCCI has a set of rules and IOC doesn't have a set of rules, that is not correct. The fact is that even then, when Prithvi Shaw scored his first century, Baseline being his agents, decided to sue 2 or 3 brands. One was Swiggy, and if my memory serves me right, there was, I think, a payment brand, something I've forgotten which one it was. But they sent them 1 crore notices. Now, what did they send them under? I will tell you the exact sections. One was they invoked section 27 of the Trademark Act, which was for cease and desist notice. That was important. Then they also referred to section 481, which is using a false property mark. They invoked section 482, which was punishment for using a false property mark again. And there was section 483, which is counterfeiting a property mark used by another of the Indian Penal Code. These 3 sections were invoked. Now, apparently, the notices they are planning to send, if they haven't already sent them, are again under these sections. Now, fact is, any good lawyer will tell you none of these notices are going to stick. They are not going to stick because the property protected. Agar aapko usme pehle to PV Sindhu has to prove that I am PV Sindhu. I mean, in court, that is how courts work. You have to first say I am PV Sindhu. I have a right over the name PV Sindhu. Nobody can, use my name PV Sindhu. The fact also is that the law allows you a very important concession. Now, this I am talking from a very simple academic point of view. This is a study we do in our Institute of Human Brands. She is a public persona. She is a national hero. Now, if I put out a tweet tomorrow and say, congratulations, PV Sindhu from Dr. Sandeep Goyal, there is nothing in the law that PV Sindhu can do to prevent me from congratulating her. I saw the ads. For example, one of the ads they picked up and said, Aditya Birla Group, also we are going to sue. I can tell you, you can get the best lawyer on this planet, and he cannot prove that Aditya Birla do not have the right, at least in the shape and form that their tweet has been framed, that they cannot say, congratulations, PV Sindhu, for winning a bronze medal signed off, Aditya Birla Group. But there is another one, I think it's Happy Dent or whatever. वो बत्तीसी के बीच में चला जाता है. Now, when you try and take her brand value and entangle it with your brand messaging, then the problem starts. Otherwise, I mean, anybody, future Generali can say, congratulations, PV Sindhu. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, she's a national hero. She's in the public domain. I have every right to congratulate her. So I don't think her handlers even know why they are suing. But what they've got in the bargain is tons and tons of good PR. I mean, we are all sitting here and doing a debate on it and so on and so forth. That was the intent. They know they're never going to carry that case through. They're never going to win it. But they've got some cheap publicity around it. So that's my take on this whole thing.
But, sir, somewhere the argument also can be that they are protecting their talents, brand image, and the image.
Urvi, I told you, अगर आपने register ही नहीं किया तो आप protect किस चीज को कर रहे हैं?
Fair enough. ठीक है. So, I'll start with you, Sandeep sir, and then I'll go to Mr. Bijoor and then to Ashish. If you can give me an example of one moment marketing strategy that sort of worked in your books, like when a brand
No,
got
I'll
it
tell
right.
you. I was on a flight, in fact, 2-3 days ago, coming in from Chandigarh with Yuvraj Singh. When Yuvraj Singh, finally retired, I don't think PV Sindhu got a fraction of the number of congratulations that he got when he retired. Now, he didn't go around telling everyone, don't congratulate me. He knew this is about the last time that, he's going to get the kind of publicity that he's getting and the kind of outpouring of love and affection and so on and so forth. So, I think in some of these things, you also got to show a little bit of sportsmanship. Yeah. I mean, you talk about sportsmanship and everything, but when it comes to making, ad dollars, you suddenly clam up. It's not for a moment am I holding a brief for the various brands who I think a lot of them have been blatant. A lot of them actually need to be, they need to be also given the rough end of the stick. But I think in a lot of ways, I think the way PV Sindhu has kind of behaved or her handlers have behaved is not in keeping with, what I would call or quote unquote sportsmanship. Right. So UV was congratulated. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of posts by the best of brands were put up. And the man just grinned and he said, thank you very much. And he moved on. I mean, she could have done the same. If there was something they were blatantly annoyed about, I mean, their lawyers could have sent out a notice. But if you want to get into a nice little PR, caravan and enjoy the circus and say, hey, boss, I've been hurt and I've been maligned and whatever. Nobody really maligned her. Yeah. So I don't know. I personally think it's a PR gimmick and nothing beyond that. And Baseline Ventures have kind of, I don't know who they are, but whoever they are, they've kind of made this into a standard operating procedure now. You have a celebrity, he gets famous, does something, send out a few legal notices, or at least threaten to send out a few legal notices, get a lot of PR around it, lament, moment marketing, blame all the brands, and it's become a kind of standard operating procedure for them.
I'll go to the next question, and that is, one instance where a brand got moment marketing right.
No, I think there is a perennial instance where brands have gotten moment marketing right. And I'm going back to my favorite brand on this, which is Amul. Okay. If you really look at Amul, it does moment marketing. It does every moment marketing literally every week. And, it's hoardings and everything that it does. So what does Amul do? Amul does it with, tongue-in-cheek kind of manner. It uses humor. It uses animation, the ability to use a cartoon structure. It uses the brand mascot very clearly. The Amul girl is always there. It uses the brand name very, very dominantly. It uses the brand language, the brand, language of buttery, utterly, buttery, delicious, and it weaves all of it together with the appetite appeal. And it does it beautifully. So to an extent, it takes very, very nasty subjects at times, political subjects. And when it takes it, it attacks it tremendously, but it does it with a sense of humor. And that sense of humor, which Sandeep was talking about, is something that Amul uses continuously. So Amul does not fault on that. Yes, there are times when Amul has been pulled up for this and that. The second example is that one single banner, which I used to see in the old days on the sea face in Mumbai, which would take the latest political issue or the political event or something and would actually put a tongue-in-cheek kind of a view. Now, that may not be allowed today, because we have lost our sense of humor. But the point is, at this point of time, Amul is, for me, the ultimate moment marketer who does it right. Amul does not misuse moments. Amul does not hijack moments. Integrity, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Ashish, your pick, if possible, apart from Amul, any other brand that you can think of that's got moment marketing right? And if you can give the exact instance, it'll be great.
I think if you recall the old R.K. Lakshman kind of a column which used to come in one of the newspapers, okay, it was nothing but a moment marketing before even the word was coined as much in the media. And I think that remains a gold standard. A part of, when you are asking a part of Amul. Amul is certainly the granddaddy of moment marketing in that manner. But I think that comes out very, very strongly to me. I mean, I still remember almost on a everyday basis, you will have this tongue-in-cheek humor. And without even looking at the classic signature, you know that what the issue is all about. It does not mention issue. It does never mention the real issue. It won't mention the headlines. It won't have a brand name all around, pasted all around. But it will talk about the issue in such a visually depicted way that you will be able to make out. And I think movement marketing is all about. It's about being subtle. It's about not. A movement marketing is not about your brand. The reason why the word movement marketing exists, it's about that movement on which you can either write or join or associate if it matches to your brand persona. You cannot go around matching with everything, and that's where the problem arises. As Sandeep says, it's okay to congratulate a personality. It's not okay to put a teeth around her. So that is something where the problem starts.
Yeah.
This is something which one should not do. And as brands, irrespective of legalities of it, and I understand the legal implications of it, but as brands, the brand ethos and the brand managers ethos are not about it is not illegal, so I will do it. It's about whether it is ethical, will I do it? I think one needs to think from that ethical point of view. A lot of things which are not illegal, a brand manager does not necessarily go around doing with their brand.
Yeah, fair enough. And lastly, Sandeep sir, any one brand that sort of strikes you as getting moment marketing correct? Any instance
Sometimes we also get very narrow focused on saying moment marketing means it happened today, and therefore what we are, going to talk about it. But I think consistently for 3, 4, 5 years, till a couple of years ago, levers used to do this. Though I have my point of view on that also, but the lever ad, for example, for Brook Bond with the Ganesh Murthy, with the Karigar is Muslim and the customer is, Hindu. The holy advertising that Lever was doing, again, I mean, this young girl taking all the, holy hits to allow her, friend who's a young Muslim boy and take him to the mosque and so on and so forth. They were also all moment of purchase. I mean, they may not be on one day, but they were moment of purchase afforded by, events on the calendar. Yeah. And levers went out to back those ideas with a huge amount of media money. First, a lot of money has obviously went into the production of the films. And then there was a huge amount of media money. And of course, there was again a huge amount of controversy. I mean, they did that again with the Kumbh film. It's now you can call it contextual and say it's not really moment, but fact is that there is a moment or an opportunity avoided in a moment of time when you can run it. You can't run a Kumbh film all the time. You can only run it when the Kumbh is on. Now they therefore took those moments, made them into big narratives, put them out in a substantially large enough outlay of money, and try to maximize the moment. So to that extent, I think the biggest commercial use of moment marketing in recent years, without doubt, has been Hindustan Lever.
Good. I think we are almost out of time. So Sandeep sir, starting with you, concluding remarks on the debate and where we go from here.
One thing, the brands who have done what they've done need to be censored. I think they need to be told that there is, as very rightly Ashish put it, there is an ethical line in business. I don't think that needs to be crossed. At the same time, to Baseline and to PV Sindhu, I think they're overreacting, right? I think she should have been magnanimous in victory. And the fact that you're being congratulated for a bronze is reason enough for you to know that the whole country is behind you. Now you go out and make too much of a noise and say, I won a bronze, but I haven't, been paid by so many guys. To me, it sounds very mercenary. I mean, to that extent, therefore, I have no sympathies for her. So that's my take on this whole controversy.
Mr. Bijoor, your concluding remarks, and also where do we go from here in terms of moment marketing? The way forward. If you could sort of give 2 points of what needs to change.
Okay. See, firstly, I have always been a marketer all my life, and therefore, as a marketer, I have always depended on consumers. So my view is leave the verdict on moment marketing, possibly not to the courts, but leave it to the consumers. Because do a poll with consumers, maybe a rough poll. Go up to about 5,000 people and ask them, Was the moment used by this brand? Was the moment misused by this brand? Was the moment hijacked by this brand? Go by that, because at the end of the day, the brand is an integrity statement, and your integrity is the most important thing you, my dear brand marketer, are preserving. So take care of it. As far as moment marketing is concerned, the galata will continue to go on. The cases will be the court, the lawyers' notices will keep being sent, and people will talk a lot about it, and you and I will debate it like this. And at the end of the day, the moment will be buried. Okay, so let's leave it at that. Okay.
And Ashish, last but not least, your concluding remarks?
I think I already said the brands need to be sensitive.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, it's an ethical statement which a brand needs to make. Look at the moment which connects with your consumers. Not necessarily everything has to be jumped by everyone. I mean, if your consumer does not come from the sports background, there is no fun jumping on a sports personality. Even if you congratulate, it is going to not make sense. As a brand manager, look at, I would say, I won't fit into a moment marketing as such. I would say look at your consumer fit to the communication, look at your brand fit and tonality, and if it matches, do it, but do it in a way that you are being ethical about it.
Okay. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. It's been a great half an hour discussion, and I hope you guys also enjoyed this little gathering over Zoom. Thank you for the viewers to tune in, and that's us signing off.